Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome
we've got some YouTube movement already.
Have we? Well,
Yeah.
that's a first. Well, anyway, welcome to Club Star Wars, everyone. And tonight is...
Sorry, my headphones came out then, Matt. I wasn't ignoring you.
Right, okay, mate. Yeah, no
I
worries.
couldn't hear what you were saying.
I'm used to it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's not the usual Star Warsy broadcast tonight because it's a fairly slow news period for Star Wars, isn't it? You know, there's not much going on. Obviously, there's the series on Disney Plus to talk about if you would like to, but to be honest, I've not seen the last two episodes.
I don't know where I'm up to with that.
Yeah.
I've watched them. But
have you watched them all?
Yeah, but I don't remember them all.
No, it's certainly not grabbed my attention like The Mandalorian did. Put it that way, but
yeah, I do.
There you go. I will catch up with them. I will catch up with them eventually.
Let's not talk about it then, because I'll end up spoiling it for you because I don't know what is what episode, like what happens. So
no, fair enough. Yeah, so we're gonna change up a bit and talk about another Lucasfilm IP, Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it's not too far from Star Wars, is it?
No, it's the same company that produces the movie, and it's same actor that's in it. I mean, there's a couple of actors in it that have been in recent Star Wars movies too, isn't there? Mads Mikkelsen.
It's George's baby as well. It's George's creation.
Exactly, and the music is from the same genius mind of yes, exactly.
Johnny.
We can talk a little bit about that if you like.
Sure.
Because it's good having you on because you are the
Star Wars
music
Williams geek
extraordinaire. Yeah. Where is he? I cannot see him in the background there.
He's next to me. Well, there's two versions. Let's put him here.
Excellent stuff.
Let's put him there.
Hello, John.
It's very nice to meet you all to talk about Indiana Jones. It's such a nice break from talking about that god awful Star Wars. Yeah, he's retired from Star Wars, hasn't he? He's gone.
Yeah. So, do you think Indiana Jones will be his last forte into the movie score business?
I don't think so. No, I think he'll.
He's got more up his sleeve.
I think the problem that John has, because how old is he? He's 89. So when he does Indiana Jones next year, he'll be 90, and I don't think it's the writing that's taxing for him now. It's the conducting and the recording. However, that means a lot to him. He likes to be involved with that. So I reckon he'll start to do projects where he's maybe writing, but not so much hands-on with the conducting and stuff. Indiana Jones, we'll come on to this later, is a very taxing kind of score to do compared to most contemporary movie scores, and Star Wars, but more Indiana Jones, if anything.
Right.
But let's.
We'll chat about a bit more about the music and the score of Indiana Jones a little bit later on because I will be getting an education from you when it comes to that. You know,
not wrong with that.
But yeah, he is in the UK at the moment. Harrison Ford, shooting Indiana Jones 5. Now, I mean, I'm reading online, Twitter, Facebook, etc.
Dangerous.
Yes, it's dangerous. Don't go there. But I can see there's a lot of people split whether we should even be having a Indiana Jones 5 movie in the first place.
Yeah,
because of the last movie. I mean, hello, we've got a comment here. Well, there you go. This is what I'm talking about. It should remain dead after Crystal Skull. It's got awful.
Yeah, that's the consent. I think that is the consensus, isn't it? I don't feel that way. I know we talked about this before, haven't we?
Yeah,
Indy 4. I don't think it's the abomination that people say it is.
It's got its moments, man.
Yeah. Paddy always says that it was worth it just for the first 20 minutes.
Yes.
To see him swinging through Area 51 and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was good. Swinging through the jungle, or the monkeys. The bits like that let it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Or a lot, depending who you are. But as far as just an adventure film, I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, it was
comparing it to the others. I prefer the others. I prefer the original 3.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're fantastic. Well, they're just absolute classics. I mean, Raiders is always the one that comes up as the classic, the one that, well, it's the first one, so it's the one that set it up. But for me, my favorite has to be The Last Crusade. I love it.
Yeah. That's the only one I ever saw the movies. I remember it well with my granddad.
Was that late 88, 87?
89.
Paddy's going to be screaming at the screen if he's watching. I'm sorry.
Yeah. 1989.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and
well, it's. I'm just looking on the thing. Harrison's been seen in Newcastle today.
Really? Yeah, he's up that end. I think they must be shooting at Banbury Castle.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
There's set leaks of a big tank or something, Nazi tank.
Yes. Well, tell you what, we'll get on to a little bit of the news that has leaked about the movie. Right, I need to.
So, were you saying you agreed with that? Is The Last Crusade your favourite?
The Last Crusade is my favourite. Yeah.
What is it that makes it favourite for you?
That's a good question. I guess it's Sean Connery, isn't it, for starters?
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
For me, again, it's because I saw it at the movies. It's the one that stands out for me because I was there when popcorn as a kid, watching it on the big screen. So them are my memories of Indiana Jones. Obviously, I'd seen the other Indiana Jones beforehand, but on the small screen. It's just the adventure side of things with that movie. It's the spectacle, and to be honest, I think there's always a supernatural element to these movies, isn't there? Which I think we're going to see in the next movie. I don't think it's going to be aliens, but we're going to speculate, and other people have been speculating on Instagram, and I've seen something that an eagle-eyed fan spotted something on the set which could point towards time travel. And
what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Could it be?
The Yorkshire Panda.
The Yorkshire Panda. That's a cool name. The last Indy should have been. The last Indy should have been, and this one should definitely be a passing of the torch or a link to the old Indy telling stories. Then you can do young Indy movies. Yeah. Who would you pass the torch to? I think
somebody asked Harrison Ford this, didn't they? They said, would you want anyone else play? Who else would you want playing Indiana Jones? He goes, I'm Indiana Jones. Don't you get it?
I'm Indiana Jones. With your finger.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah. They've actually come out and said, this is the last Indiana Jones movie. There will be no more.
I didn't know that. I mean, you'd assume so, wouldn't you? Because of Harrison's age, but
that
I didn't know they'd officially said it.
That character belongs to Ford, and it will be played by nobody else, apparently. So give it another 10 years.
Well, Lucasfilm are open to do young Harrison Ford characters in other IPs of theirs, so
Right.
who knows? I wouldn't do it with Indiana Jones.
No.
The thing is, River Phoenix, who played young Indy, was so good that I wouldn't have minded seeing. Obviously, he's not with us anymore, but River, River
At the time,
playing
it would have
Indiana
been cool.
Jones.
Yeah. You saw how he got the old scar on the chin.
Yeah.
He first started using his whip.
Oh, he's awesome.
Yeah, it was like an origin story at the beginning of that movie, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah. Got another comment from Daniel.
I love sci-fi, but Indiana Jones is a pure adventure movie at heart. Yep. And Crystal Skull tried to blend the two, and it failed massively. Yeah, it definitely is an adventure film, and it's well, I think the idea behind it was to portray the old adventure series from the 1920s, 30s.
Yeah, 20s,
Sort of
30s,
thing.
yeah. They call them, it's what Star Wars was based on, the Saturday matinee serial. I think Indy's probably closer to that format than the Star Wars movies are overall as well. It's kind of what Harrison Ford talks about this, I think on Conan or something. He says Indiana Jones is based on early Saturday matinee serials, which most of your audience will not know what they are, where you'd watch a short episode each week and there'd always be this cliffhanger. And Indiana Jones as well was, I think in this day and age, especially where we're at the minute, this Indiana Jones 5 is going to be, I hope it is action adventure, because we haven't had a fun classic action adventure for so many years now.
Yeah.
I think cinema is screaming out for something like this. So
Definitely.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. And but again, getting back to the sort of the supernatural side of things, I mean, it's Crystal Skull is very science fictiony, I suppose, rather than supernatural.
Yeah.
With the I don't think they were aliens, were they? As such, they were interdimensional beings. That's what they were.
That's what I don't even know how far back that film goes, but they were talking about it. Spielberg and George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. Yeah, they were talking about it in the early 90s, just after Jurassic Park, and Steven had just done Jurassic Park and Schindler's List, and he said Indiana Jones 4 it's going to have aliens in it, and then he said, "Oh no, George, you've done aliens, I've done aliens, no," and then he said, "But they're," and then Roland Emmerich's Independence Day came out in 1996, I think. Which was a big hit around the world. And then he was like, "Oh, we can't do aliens now, can we?" And he said, "What if they're not aliens?" This is George, by the way. "What if they're not aliens? What if they're interdimensional beings?" And he's like, "Right, fine." I mean, Steven,
go on then.
Steven Spielberg did not want to do those movies. He wanted to leave them behind.
Like the Back to the Future trilogy. Just leave them.
Just leave it be. Yeah, that's kind of what Mark said. Coming back to Star Wars, that's what Mark said about after the prequels.
Okay, yeah.
When they were talking about the sequels, they were like, we've struck lightning. Lightning doesn't strike twice. It's just never going to be the same. And he said, "Why bother?"
Right.
Yeah, he was right. That's kind of, I felt the same as Mark. That's why I was like, right, whatever comes, it's not going to be what I got when I was 6 or 7 years old when I first watched those original trilogy. And I suppose that, there's a parallel there to Indiana Jones. I imagine number 4 was like that for a lot of other people, whereas I was not as invested in Indiana Jones as I am Star Wars. I think you're the same as well. Whereas our comrade Paddy, he loves Indiana Jones just as, I'd say, probably just as much as Star Wars. What's this from Daniel?
I don't think Ford has too many movies left in him. This might be the start of a last great run for him.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he's 79. Is he 79?
78, 79, yeah. I think he's still pretty fit. He's been, you know, he's been pictured cycling around in his skin tight cycling gear around the northeast.
Yeah, he keeps active, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, who knows? I mean, obviously, he's getting an old man now, so there won't be too many movies left in him. But well, I hope there is. I hope there is. I hope we do get a few more. Not Indiana Jones movies, obviously, but you know, a few more.
I think he's got more in him.
He's pretty good at the voice. I put a movie on the other week for the kids.
He's that dog, isn't he?
He plays a dog.
He's so good.
Rooster is the name of the dog, and my word, like I was talking about this to Paddy, and it's the character of Harrison Ford as the dog.
Oh yeah, they definitely.
I think he just played himself.
just showed up. They put a microphone in front of him, and they're like, just talk.
Just talk. Just be your sort of grumpy, nonchalant self, you know. And
they even put the. I could be wrong with this, but they even put the half smirk frown in there as well.
Did they? I missed that bit. Yeah,
I think so. I could be wrong with that. I don't know. It's probably just because I'm hearing Harrison's voice coming out of this dog's mouth, and I'm like, oh, it looks like Harrison as well, but it doesn't. Right. That's why he shows up on Jimmy Kimmel, doesn't he? Dressed as a hot dog.
Is that right?
Yeah, he just shows up. It's on YouTube. You should watch it. And he just sits there. And Jimmy Kimmel says, "So you're doing the new Star Wars?" And he just goes, "Woof, woof, woof."
Oh man, he's got a mean sense of humor. That guy.
It was right before Force Awakens was about to land,
right?
And he said, "What?" He goes, here's the poster for the film," and he goes, "Luke Skywalker is not on the poster. Do you know anything about this?" And he goes, Harrison just looks at it and goes, "There wasn't room." So yeah, I think that's what he's dressed as a dog. Could be wrong. He's been on all them talk shows quite a lot, like Conan, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon as well.
He loves it. I think he just loves it, man. Like winding up the audience and.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, just taking the out of himself. Really.
Have you seen the one where they'd literally just announced the sequels? It's like 2013, 2012, and Conan says they're doing the new Star Wars movies, and Harrison just goes, on him. And then he gives him $1,000 in cash and says, "Tell us something about the Star Wars movie." So Harrison takes it and goes, "A long time ago." In a place far, far away. And then Andy next to him goes, "I think it's a galaxy far, far away." And he goes, "But it was a long time ago." And he goes, yeah. And he goes, "You have no idea how long ago it was." But yeah, he's I mean, somebody in an interview as well with Harrison said, so you're doing Blade Runner 2049, you're talking about doing Indiana Jones 5, you've just done Star Wars The Force Awakens. Are you just going back through all your 80s movies? And he goes, yeah, what's your problem?
Yeah.
So what?
It's yeah. Man.
I mean, the thing is, Harrison doesn't agree to it without seeing a script, I believe. No. He doesn't just say, yeah, let's go for it. Because if that was the case, he would have done a lot more films like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like the Crystal Skull, isn't it? Where what's the actor who played his son?
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf, yeah. Shia LaBeouf really went to town on that film, didn't he? Like afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think Harrison basically, what did he call him? I think he called him out for it, saying, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Basically, it's your job. Just turn up, do it.
It's a shame that happened because I thought Shia was pretty good in the movie.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought he played the part well. It was convincing. He was adventurous. He wasn't a stick in the mud.
Yeah.
Or a stick in the mutt. He's called Mutt, isn't he?
Mutt. Yeah.
The character's name.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame he went on talking like that. But back to Harrison. I'm going to speak for Paddy because he's not here.
Yeah.
But Paddy's favourite Harrison Ford role and his favourite film of all time is Blade Runner.
Yes.
Which I didn't know when I first met Paddy. I thought he was just Star Wars mad because that's how me and him got to know each other through Star Wars. But yeah, it's all about Blade Runner and Indy before it is Star Wars. Primarily, obviously, it's because Harrison has a much bigger role in those. But I said to him about 2 weeks ago, I texted Paddy and I said, I was just thinking about Star Wars, would you believe it? And the original trilogy.
Unusual.
I know. And I was thinking about the original trilogy primarily. And Han Solo is, for me, he's almost the hero of the original trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He saves everyone, and he's the one who gets screwed over in Empire Strikes Back. It's not Luke has a bad time, of course, but Han's the one who saves everyone. He's just awesome.
Yeah.
I always take those films for granted because they're not movies to me. Do you know what I mean? Like people. Sorry, what's Daniel saying?
Yeah, sorry. He's outside of Star Wars. His greatest movies are the first 3 Indiana Jones movies and the original Blade Runner. Yeah, very true. Love Blade Runner. Yeah, Blade Runner was the first DVD I ever bought.
I hear that off a lot of people. What is it about that movie? Was it one of the first DVDs there wasn't much choice. Out? I think that's what it was. It was one of the first ones.
Yeah. But the day I went to purchase a DVD player, which was back then they were like the size of a VHS player as well,
Yeah.
They
weren't cheap.
They weren't cheap at all. No, they weren't cheap at all. So I haggled a little bit with the store, and they threw in a free DVD with it because I was paying cash. And Blade Runner it was. So good dude.
Was that in New Zealand or over here?
No, that was over here. Yeah, we're talking like when DVDs first came out, really.
Yeah.
Roughly. So yeah, that would have been back in the 90s, I guess.
My first DVD was The Phantom Menace.
Was it?
Yeah.
I when did DVDs come out? What would it have been? Would it have been late 90s? Like 99, 88, 98, 99?
Yeah, 2000? I mean, officially on the market, late 90s, but in terms of us seeing movies, I think it was like 2000.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. When did DVDs come out UK? Yeah, I thought it was like June 1997 DVD arrived. But then it didn't really take. I'd say it wasn't mainstream until at least 99, 2000. And you actually had to wait a while for The Phantom Menace to be on DVD as well. It took quite a while. And we didn't get the original trilogy on DVD till 2004.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to wait a while.
Seems like yesterday.
Yeah. Do you remember the gold box and the silver box? It was very much like the VHS special edition, wasn't it?
I remember I had both, actually. I think I had the gold box in this country. And then when I moved over to Australia, I bought them again. I think it was a silver box that time.
You could only get the gold box over here from HMV. It was a HMV exclusive.
Yeah.
I believe. But the discs were absolutely no different.
Right.
They were all silver inside. It was just the outer. I got them both. I thought they might be different. No.
Right.
All silver.
Yeah.
But what year was it? Was it 2006? And then what are known as the Gout DVDs, which is Gout stands for George's Original Unaltered Treatments or something like that. Right. Basically, they released. Do you remember the laser discs from the 90s?
Yes.
They use that as the source to release these gold versions. I've got them over there. They're a bit rarer compared to the silver versions, but they're the original cuts of Star Wars Empire and Jedi, but they're just the laser discs. Right, so the quality is really bad. But I think it's the best official, complete released, unedited Star Wars that's out there.
Right.
Apart from the fans that are doing these,
the D, what do you call it?
Despecialized 4K versions. There's Project 4K is doing one, and I saw it and I was like, holy crap. Sorry, Daniel, Andy, the Blade Runner Director's Cut is the version to watch. I do actually have the 4K set of Blade Runner, the one that that actually had a nice book with it. It's quite rare now. It's got 4 copies on DVD, Blu-ray, and the final cut in 4K. So it's got the theatrical version with the Harrison Ford dialogue on it. It's got the director's cut from '92, which I think is what Daniel's talking about, and then it's got I'm missing one. The final cut's 2007. I'm missing one. Theatrical. Then there's one after that, and then there's the director's. Then there's the final cut.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know Blade. I know Blade Runner a bit more than I know Indiana Jones. I've seen it more.
Where's Paddy when we need him?
I know. This is what I mean. We need Paddy here.
Yeah.
To talk about Indy and Blade Runner.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, shall we getting back to Indy?
Yeah.
I can't remember where we left off, but
you were getting some images up that had
yes. So this is from right. That's right. I need to go and share the screen. So share screen.
Brian's not with us. Is he a Paddy fan?
He must be.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, that's work print, Paddy says. The work print.
The work print. So that's the second one. So it's theatrical, work print, directors, then final cut.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty good set if you can get hold of it. That has all of them on it. However, only the 2007 final cut is in 4K. I personally don't mind. I'm quite happy with that. But I know real fans of Blade Runner are a bit annoyed about that, and they want the other versions in 4K as well. That would be too expensive an endeavor for the studio to do. I don't think they're interested. Also, it would have to be approved by Ridley Scott, who also doesn't want those other versions. I don't know, because he didn't mind the 1080p versions being out there. So
no,
yeah. Paddy keeps telling me to watch those other versions, but I'm just like, I want to watch in HDR 4K, so I have to stick with the final cut, which, by the way, is one of the best 4K prints I've ever seen, and it's 41 years old.
You showed us that time, and I was blown away.
Oh, did I have it on my computer when I was at yours?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you should see it on a proper 4K Blu-ray player and everything.
Yes, I know.
I don't think it's streaming anywhere in 4K. I think you have to buy the actual. You can still get hold of that, by the way. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one with all 4 versions in. That's quite rare. But the normal 4K you can pick up for £15 probably now.
All right.
2049 is a.
I've got a list of 4K Blu-rays that I need to get.
Oh,
added one.
I bet your list is like nearly £1,000, isn't it? Because you've got the Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
The Hobbit. That's £150 gone straight away. You've got the Star Wars movies.
Got the rest of the Star Wars movies to get, the originals and the prequels. Yeah.
So you can pick them up for about £80 now.
Yeah, I mean, I've got A New Hope already, so that's a chip off the block. But yeah,
surprisingly, the first Star Wars is the best looking 4K film of the Star Wars movies.
Yes, it is. It's very nice. It's very nice to look at indeed. Yeah, especially with the HDR and
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to I don't think I'll be able to live without HDR in movies going forward.
When you flip back to like normal telly or on YouTube or Netflix or whatever, you're just like, my God, is this flat? You think you do shit in comparison, don't you?
You do.
It does make a big difference. Sometimes I find it too bright. I have to turn it down, but it is very exciting visually.
Yeah.
Just feels more realistic, doesn't it?
It does. And it can only get better, really. You know, and when it was talking about The Hobbit, when it first came out, it was shot in 48 frames a second. I loved that, and I must be like the oddball, you know, because like most people hate it. Most people hate it, but I loved it. I thought this looks amazing, you know. But yeah. What did you think of that?
He being Peter Jackson. He showed that at I could be wrong here, but I think it was Comic-Con. He showed some preview footage of it with, with the 3D glasses and the 48 frames a second, and it didn't go down well. However,
No.
he said, I'm still going to release it everywhere. And he pushed and pushed for all theaters to offer it, but only IMAX theaters showed it at first, I believe, and then other theaters started to show it.
Right.
So I saw all of them in 48 frames a second in the IMAX in Printworks. I was actually there. Which film was it? 2015. That must have been the final one, the Battle of the Five Armies. The projector wasn't working. The manager came out after 20 minutes of sat there like, come on, we haven't even got adverts on yet. And he came out and said the lamp on or something just isn't firing. We're trying everything we can. And we sat there for another 20 minutes and we're like, I was there at midnight. I was like, I really want to see this film. As much as the Hobbit trilogy wasn't that successful with people's opinions, it made its money back, surely. But, I liked them. I thought they were fun movies.
I watched them again recently, actually. Like this week. I love them. I mean, it's expanding on the book a wee bit, with characters and different scenes and what have you. A wee bit, that's an understatement.
One of my students sent me a meme.
You've got to think of it as a prequel to the Lord of the Rings.
Absolutely,
and it's explaining, Sauron and all that sort of thing within that movie. So within the Hobbit trilogy.
Well, that's what Jackson got criticized for, that he just throwing stuff in there, and I'm like, I don't see it like that. He definitely loves the world, and he loves. I think he loves, and he's very proud, as he should be, of the world he created. That vision of Middle Earth that he made.
Absolutely, loved it.
I was so excited. I'm a big Dark Side fan, so I love Sauron. I want to know more about him and his rise back to power, and that's what you see in The Hobbit. You see very little bits of it. So I did enjoy those. Loved the first two Hobbit, but the third just felt like deleted scenes. Yeah, it wasn't very strong, the third one.
No, I think. I know what you're saying. Billy Connolly, though, playing Dane.
I must say, the extended Battle of Five Armies is the one that benefits the most from being extended. It feels more like a movie now than the theatrical one did. But the 48 frames a second, it came with a health warning. There was loads of scaremongering from America saying, "Oh, you're going to be vomiting in the aisles and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, this sounds awful." But you see high frame rates more than you think you do.
Yeah, well, real life is a higher frame rate than 48 frames a second.
Yeah. I mean, there is
vomiting everywhere,
Yeah, exactly. But
you open your eyes,
But that's why people didn't like it, because we're just not used to it. And Peter Jackson's philosophy was, we've been on 24 for so many years. It's time to move on. And he said, sound has changed a lot and got for the better and things like that. Yeah. And he just believes in, and he's quite like George Lucas.
Exactly. I was going to say that. He was pushing the envelope in cinema like George Lucas was back in the day. And I think more movie makers should, just try different things. Whether they hit the target or not, it's up to the audience. But I mean, I enjoyed the 48 frames a second. I thought it was quite the spectacle. But I'm in the minority, I think, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can't buy them outside of the movie theaters, though. You can only
you only experienced that in the cinema, didn't you?
Yeah, our TVs are, I assume, capable, but I don't know if the 4K format. I don't know how it would work.
There is one movie that is shot in 60 frames a second. It's that. I've got it on 4K as well.
Has it been released?
Yeah.
60 frames.
Yeah, I bought it for that for that fact. It's Will Smith's where he plays like a hitman. But yeah,
I Am Legend.
No.
Not Hancock. He's a superhero in that, isn't he?
Yeah.
Seven. Is it £7?
No, I'll look it up. I think it came out in 2019.
I don't know about this film. Oh, is this where
Gemini Man?
Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. I haven't seen the movie, but he plays there's a de-aged version of him, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, I'm a massive Sylvester McCoy fan. So am I. I thought, yeah, that was a real good
Nice
choice of
treat.
actor to have in The Hobbit. No, it wasn't iRobot. Yeah, Gemini Man. That's in high frame rate on the Blu-ray itself, on the 4K Blu-ray, and
Okay.
I bought it basically for that reason.
Well, that's answered my
frame rate.
question. They are being released.
Yeah,
Didn't know
So
that.
I don't think there's any, anything holding back The Hobbit being released in high frame rate now. So fingers crossed it will, because I'll probably buy him.
Sure.
At some point.
We'll come back. We'll come back to 4K, and we'll come back to Indiana Jones in 4K as well.
Yeah. Yes, because that's been released recently. But yeah, looking at these recent pictures that have been released, this is Bamburgh Castle in the northeast, which is one of the many castles in the UK I've never been to actually. Apparently, it's very beautiful. It's on the coast with a big wide beach next to it. But yeah, I don't know what these could be. These big red.
Best order.
Exactly. Yeah. Something they've covered it up. I wish they hadn't covered it up, because I want to know what it is.
They've not done a very good job of covering them.
No. Wait a minute. So there's an armored car, an armored German. I mean, this is the thing, the puzzling thing, isn't it? Is this a flashback?
It's got to be.
Or time travel? Because, right, let's get into the speculation of this Indiana Jones 5, and then we'll get back to talking a little bit more about the music and the Blu-rays and what have you. So, it's Nazi Germany. This is supposed to be a castle in Germany, I believe. It's going to be made to look like a castle in Germany. I'm only speculating. It might not be.
Maybe the castle from Last Crusade.
It could be. Yeah, with the old Mickey Mouse scene.
Yeah. Could be that.
Yeah. And those Ford in his cycling gear.
Imagine just Harrison appearing over your shoulder.
That's what you hear first.
See, for me, he's Han Solo. To me, he's Han Solo first.
Yeah.
We'll have to ask Paddy what does he see the most when he sees him. I imagine he'll see Indiana Jones.
Well, I can't wait for Paddy to get on air and at some point and tell us a story, because I'm not gonna leak anything here about it, but Paddy's got some stories to tell. Let's put it that way.
Loose lips sink starships. There he is.
There he is, walking across the street there.
The Ford's just walking around like a normal human being.
Yeah. So, I mean, he is fit for his age, man.
Yeah.
He's walking. Newcastle. Yeah. That's Newcastle, everybody. That's not Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
That's Newcastle, England.
Yeah, Daniel's put has to be a flashback. I hope it is a flashback.
Well, yeah. Well,
I'm worried for the film if it's time travel.
Right. Should I get into the bit where it could be time travel? And this is.
Yeah, we've got two comments.
Have we? Yeah.
On YouTube.
They've gone full crossover, and it's Castle Wolfenstein. Yeah. They need to make a Castle Wolfenstein movie. That'd be awesome. I mean, that would be cool. The games are awesome.
Yeah, very popular titles, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've never actually played them myself, but I've heard they're very, very good.
Yeah, I've actually been playing it recently because I never finished it. But yeah,
you have it on Xbox
I'm one of those.
One?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So was it a 360 game?
No, I think it came out for the Xbox One.
Oh, all right. Okay. I didn't realize it was that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the IP goes back years, so it's been on other systems prior to the Xbox One. But the new iterations of them by, I think it's id, who do Doom. The story it's like set in an alternate reality, 1960s, and the Nazis won. The Nazis had won.
Okay.
Yeah. Has to be a flashback. Yeah, could be. But let's have a look at it. I'll just share this if I can. So I'll stop that screen. This is the time travel. Here we go. Right. Can you see that?
Yeah, man.
So Indiana Jones 5 set photos tease time travel plot for Harrison Ford after a statue spotted. Now, this is clutching at straws, so...
Okay.
But I'll get down to the crunch of it. Here's the... Oh, it's a tweet. Thank you to Victor Montes for this hint. On first picture, left, up, is the wood construct of a statue that looks like Kronos. Story revealed. So, Kronos, in Greek mythology, is time personified.
Okay.
Okay, so he's putting those like 2 and 2 together and probably getting 5, maybe, I don't know, but could that well be a hint that time travel is a factor in this movie? Now, could you imagine an older Indiana Jones, traveling back in time and helping out his younger self in Nazi Germany?
Oh, it feels a bit too Terminator and Back to the Future for me. I hope
Would that? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. If they are going that route, I mean, from the leaked photographs we've got, there is definitely a younger version of Harrison Ford going to be in the movie.
Yeah, they're going to de-age him, aren't they? It's inevitable.
Yeah,
that's fine. The flashback thing's fine.
As long as they use the technology, the de-aging technology that these great YouTubers use, the
or deepfake,
because that looks a lot better than what Lucasfilm did with Luke Skywalker at the end of The Mandalorian. Using the CGI is a bit too uncanny valley, where deepfake is actually grasps reality a little bit better, in my opinion.
They have a lot less control over deepfake, though. That's why I don't think they use it, even though
right.
It looks a bit better. I don't know. It's is that Kathy?
Yeah, that's Kathy Kennedy there with the Ford, and I think Frank Marshall is hanging around up there as well, so he's on set.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. So all these rumors about Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm, so one way or another. Yeah.
No.
Nah.
She's not going anywhere.
She's not going anywhere. Unless this is her final film, which I can't,
Well, she doesn't produce everything. Like she didn't produce Rebels or Clone Wars or Bad Batch, any of this animated stuff.
No.
She only produced the movies, and even those had a producer linked to them. Forgive me for not knowing, but I can't remember there being a producer on The Force Awakens other than Kathy. I don't know if JJ brought someone in for Bad Robot, but on The Last Jedi, it's Ron Bergman, and who's worked with Rian Johnson many times. But Kathy's still there for the whole thing. She's acting like she is the producer. And then on Rise of Skywalker, I think it was Chris Terrio and Kathleen Kennedy. But then you get onto The Mandalorian, and Kathy's listed as the producer, but I don't think she's as involved in that as the movies. Right. And she's not. I don't think she was the main. Just when I say she's not the producer, I don't mean that. I just mean she wasn't on her own on the credits. There's somebody else listed as well.
Yeah,
but she seems to be obviously more involved in the movie side of it. I just don't know how much, because some producers are there to do a lot more of the creative things than others. So, for example, Gary Kurtz on the original Star Wars had quite a lot of creative input. He wasn't just somebody bringing heads of departments together to get a movie done, which is the paper version of a producer. But some producers have way more creative roles. For example, George Lucas on Indiana Jones. He wasn't the director, but he was a producer with Kathy. Him and Kathy both produced it. But George created the story, which isn't too far away from George's relationship with Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Larry Kasdan and Lee Brackett wrote Empire, the script. George did the story. Irving Kershner directed it. So there's this. It depends which movie they're working on, how much input they have. I think Kathy's too busy running the company to be the kind of producer she would have been on the Indiana Jones movies or the other movies that she's produced, E.T. and Jurassic Park. I mean, in terms of producers,
she's got a pretty good. She's got a pretty good CV.
What a resume, as they say in America. Jurassic Park alone, it's like one of the biggest films ever. Indiana Jones. Amazing. No, she definitely does. And at the end of the day, ignoring the Star Wars sequel trilogy from my point of view, she should be honoured for all those other movies that she's been involved with. Jurassic Park, exactly. Yeah. Jurassic Park is one of my favourite movies of all time. Yeah, it's amazing.
As well as all the other ones that she's been involved with. No, she's good, but I think Brian Young.
Brian's here.
Kathy, boo, hiss.
Not a fan. You all right, Brian?
Squire.
Hope you're well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to blow smoke up a butt. I was really disappointed with what we got with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and I do
really.
Didn't you know? No. Is this news to you?
That's the thing. The kinds of movies we're talking about, they're a lot bigger than one person.
Yes, they are.
Society.
It's not like she didn't make these movies single-handedly. I mean,
I'm not defending her. I'm just I'm not defending her or anything. I'm just saying that these projects are so big. I mean, you sit and watch the credits of any of these movies. Look how many people are involved. Some people are involved in those movies and they don't even get a credit. Steven Spielberg is not credited for Revenge of the Sith, but he co-directed some of the scenes in pre-visualization. So I can't remember everything, but I think I mentioned this before. You know, when Anakin and Obi-Wan are on that arm and then the lava comes up and falls off.
Oh, yes, you have mentioned that. Yeah.
That's Steven's idea.
Right. Wow.
And it's a big set piece in the movie. I mean, that was the previs stage, so they had to do it in previs because the production wouldn't have been able to have that ready. Anyway, back on to Star Wars.
So Daniel says if parts of the movie are set in Nazi Germany, they could say Castle is Colditz Castle, which was a major Nazi prison. Yes.
Okay.
So
Didn't know
that could be a big sort of breakout scene, maybe.
What's Yorkshire Panda said? Sorry, I missed all that. Was I talking over that one? Original Wolfenstein.
Original Wolfenstein 3D was id Software and came before Doom. Then there was Return on Xbox, and new ones on Xbox One, PS4, PC. Yeah.
Cool. Didn't know that.
Yeah, great games. I'm currently playing through Middle Earth at the moment, so I'll get back to it at some stage. But honestly, I play a game for like a couple of hours, and then I put it down, and I pick something else up for a couple of hours, then put it down, and then eventually, like a year later, I'll get back to the game I was playing originally.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So remember how I was enjoying it, and I get back into it. Yeah.
I'm so boring with games. When I was younger, I used to play a bit more varied, but now, since December 2017, whatever it was, Battlefront 2, nothing but so sad. I did download the latest Master Chief collection which includes Halo Reach and Halo 4. And
Right.
I had a quick go on Halo Reach, and I cannot believe how good that upgrade to 4K looks.
Yeah.
Considering the game is 12 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Love that game. One of my favorites for sure.
Definitely.
Nazi symbols everywhere.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is that. So that's the Kronos, the statue, the Greek mythology guy.
Yeah.
And that's correct. Yeah. I mean, this is stretching it a wee bit, isn't it? This is like.
I hope that's what it is. I hope it's not. Steve's got a question for us.
Does he? Okay.
I think I have an answer for this, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Hi guys, how involved will Spielberg be in Indy 5? Isn't he to be an executive producer, and how standoff will he be, do you think? Well, he was involved originally, wasn't he? But didn't he walk away?
He walked away. I hope Paddy doesn't mind me talking about this, because this is completely his observation, and it makes a lot of sense. But I think I'm going to save that. I'm not going to say it because I want Paddy's approval before I say something about that. But yeah, Stephen was involved. All I'll say is, Steven Spielberg in '93 did Schindler's List. And this film has the Nazis back into it. Maybe there's a conflict of interest there. And maybe Stephen just possibly, I don't know, maybe feels uncomfortable. I don't know. That's just speculation there.
Yes.
That's nothing official has been said, but it's just something I'd not thought about that makes a lot of sense.
No.
That Paddy was kind of talking about, which I didn't even think about.
I've never thought about that actually. Yeah. How he personally feels about the whole Nazi thing.
Well, there's something that, again, I don't want to say without Paddy talking about it, because it was him who found out this information. But Stephen said something about it years ago. But yeah, I don't want to misquote anybody.
No, fair enough.
But yes, Stephen is the director I was hoping was going to be doing the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
I love Steven Spielberg. I mean, who doesn't? E.T.,
exactly.
Indiana Jones. I mean, I actually say, I must have said this before, I think Jaws may be the greatest film of all time. It doesn't mean it's my favorite film. My favorite is Star Wars, but I think Jaws is like the perfect movie.
I think I would agree with that. It is definitely one of my favorite movies of all time. The characters make that movie. The actors, it's just fantastic. You don't see the shark, the music. It's everything about it in a package is a perfect movie.
I mean, the shark. There's a parallel to Star Wars with this as well. The shark in that movie, you barely see it, but in your memory, it's there a lot more because of John's music. That repetitive ostinato, dun 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 dun, and that recurs throughout the whole movie. But again, people get a little bit obsessed with those two notes. The score is way more than just that.
Oh, yes.
But that's the bit you meant to recognize that comes back. Anyway, but the parallel with that is Darth Vader in the first Star Wars. He's actually only on screen for, is it 8 minutes or something like that?
9 minutes, yeah.
But the impact that character had, incredible. Same thing with Jaws. Like, it just made such a profound effect on everyone's memory of that movie. You thought you saw the shark more.
Yes.
Everybody falls into that trap.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those movies that has been re-released in 4K HDR, and it is beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yes,
it actually surpassed my expectations. Steven Spielberg actually said this print is the best the film's ever looked. He said it didn't look this good when we rolled it in 35mm. He said it just looks amazing. Well, the good thing is as well, it's not been hyped in terms of color and sharpness and things like that. It's not been digitally altered, if that makes sense.
Right.
They've tried to preserve the look of the film, which is very good. I mean, you could easily get any of these films and put what's called digital noise reduction on it, which is something that will make it look more modern, which some films have done. Some people have said they did it on.
It up a bit.
Yeah, they did it on. There's speculation about this, that whether the Lord of the Rings in 4K is real 4K or is it just a 2K upscale. Now, the studio said that we went back to the original negative, which means the 35mm film. And then, because what happens is they shoot it in 35mm back in, what was it, 96? They started filming Lord of the Rings and then it finished in 99 and then they made the movies. So back in the late 90s when they shot them. And then what happens is it gets summed down to 2K. The reason for that is because the visual effects cannot be done bigger. Yeah. So what they did for the 4K release is go back to the original negatives and use them again, and then put the new visual effects up and upscaled those to 4K so that you get the best presentation of the film. Right. Some people have said that's not true, and they found an error with Shadowfax in Return of the King. There's a YouTube video for it. I can't remember the YouTuber, sorry, but he you see Shadowfax and he like frame blends and moves a little bit, and it's a little bit odd, and they reckon that's the digital noise thing in the background. So I don't know. They look the best they've ever looked, the Lord of the Rings in 4K. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if that's maybe the whole thing what I've said is correct, but there's digital noise reduction as well.
Yeah.
Essentially, he's trying to make his old trilogy look like his new trilogy.
Yes. Yeah. Like The Hobbit.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And Daniel says, I would venture to say 2K upscale.
Yeah, that's what people are saying about it. Still the best versions of those movies you can get hold of. And
I shall hold them one day. And watch them one day, Because, I mean, I'd like to have them on physical rather than buy them digitally, because you do get the best from physical media, don't you, really? Is
streaming and stuff like that, they're summed down versions of the 4K Blu-rays. The Blu-rays, the biggest quality you get. I think
if your internet's not up to speed and you stream in 4K, it will reduce, won't it? You know,
it'll go to 1080p.
Yeah, exactly. So
and it'll just look awful.
Yeah,
it won't look awful, but I think it'll try and do possibly.
You're not getting what you paid for, though.
You know, if it doesn't, I don't know how it works with HDR. When your connection's not that good, do you get a HDR version of 1080p, which would look fuzzy as hell?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know what happens because your TV automatically adjusts to HDR, so your TV may be going like getting upset because I've never had that problem, so I don't know how it works. I would assume maybe if you've got 4K HDR stream coming in and your connection drops, then it will just stay on the 4K and just buffer. You'll get the wheel of death that never moves. Sometimes I find
I've never had that problem, by the way.
No, in the early days of Netflix, I did.
Yeah.
But not the 4K thing.
Yeah. But I think having the physical media, if you're a fan, is the way to go anyway, because you want it on your shelf, don't you? Really?
It's not just that; it's a quality thing for me. Like,
it's a quality thing, and it's having it on the shelf and displaying it and getting it off the shelf. It's the whole motion of putting it on and sitting back and watching it rather than
I'm all about that physical media.
Yeah, let's get physical.
That's why I'm annoyed at Disney for the Mandalorian and Bad Batch and Clone Wars. They're not releasing them. Disney Plus only.
Oh, right. So you can only stream it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yep.
I mean, that would have been lovely to have on 4K.
I know. I really thought they'd go that route just to make more money, but they're not interested.
We've got a special guest.
Ba-boom.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stream
How's it going, boys?
Good.
Patrick,
how are you?
What have you been up to recently?
Oh,
do you want to go back to full screen, Matt?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well, you know, I met Harrison Ford in full Indiana Jones costume. No big deal.
Whoa.
What did you what else did you do that day?
Cried, turned to jelly, that kind of thing.
It finally happened,
mate. It
happened.
It was ridiculous. The whole day.
I bet you were pinching yourself, weren't you, man?
The whole day was like an Indiana Jones adventure. I'm not. Yeah. I can't. I'm not going to say too much here. Like, I'm not going to give it away because we've got some really great footage for the film when it comes out. And we shared a couple of words, and he signed the autograph, and he was really cool. And just before that, I met Kathleen Kennedy, which was interesting.
Wow.
But I'll tell you. Well, I'll tell you how the actual meeting him came about, but not that kind of what he said and stuff. So we'd been all around. We'd looked at bits of the set. We'd seen this train, the Nazi train with the train with the swastikas on, and we'd seen kind of base camp. We'd seen a big helicopter arrive and all this kind of stuff. So as time went on through the day, I was getting kind of thinking, this might be quite hopeful. This is looking okay. But we'd been running around for such a long time in the sun, and it was just really hot. So I said, listen, let's break, have a wee, go and have a pint. And the pub was like literally opposite where all the crew was coming in. And no, Brian. No. So we're having a pint, we're waiting, and then at this point, we'd already seen all the crew walk along this bit and into the tunnel where they were shooting the train stuff on the other side. And they hadn't shot yet because it was going to be a night shoot, from what I understood from some guy we met there. He said they were probably going to be shooting from like 10 till 6 in the morning or something.
Wow.
So we're waiting around, and then these kind of like a few black SUVs turned up and stuff, and I was like, And we saw this guy get out. I don't know if it was mangled. His hair didn't look salt and peppery enough, but he was wearing a mask, so it was difficult to tell. I've never seen the dude. I've only ever seen the dude like this. I've not seen his shape or anything. So I wasn't sure whether it was him. But as this was kind of going, and I'm thinking, we might get to see something here. So I decided to move a bit closer, and I'm holding my official pick Cindy shot that I wanted to get signed. And next minute a car rolls up, and Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall get out. I was like, holy shit, it's the boss. The boss lady's here. And she just came walking towards me. She wasn't wearing a mask, so I knew instantly it was her. She put one on afterwards, but when she first got out of the car, she wasn't wearing one. So she walked basically straight towards me, and I just went, hi Kathy, how are you? She was like, I'm great, thank you, how are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So can I get a quick picture with you? She was like, sure. So we take a picture, and literally as we've taken the picture, I turned around and Ford stood there in the fucking costume.
So you pushed Kathleen Kennedy by the face away.
I just went, thanks, Kathy.
Yeah.
But it was ridiculous. I mean, seeing him would have been good enough, but I turn around and he's wearing the Indiana Jones costume. Like that is literally the dream. That is literally the dream. And it's funny, I was saying to Gina only last week, I was saying, I said, the dream is to meet him in the Indiana Jones costume.
Yeah, well, you said that to me previously as well, and it must have been a premonition. You must have known somewhere deep down in your waters this was going to happen.
Would you know where? I'll do you a little story. So it kind of goes back a few years, but when I first started collecting and stuff, I got to know this guy. If he ever is this podcast, great. I've not spoken to him for years. He's called Chris Blackett. He lived in Widnes somewhere. I've not spoken to him for years, but he was he was probably more like our age, or maybe in his 30s when I met him, and I was like, whatever I was, 14, 15, and he was a Harrison Ford fan, and he used to send me stuff from time to time, clippings or things out of magazines, or he would always say, I've got a couple of things there for you, but when I first met him, I was looking at Ford stuff, and he a bit similar to when I met Shipper, but we started talking about Harrison Ford, and he told me that he'd met him a few times. So I forget. Basically, what he did was, and you could never do this these days, but back in the 80s, it was probably a lot easier. He just used to blag his way onto sets. So he would literally put like a brown envelope under his arm, and write production notes for Mr. Watts on it or whatever, and then just stop the screen. Just it was like, I've got these, I've got some notes here for Mr. Watts. Like, oh yeah, in you come. So he told me this story how he sat on the Temple of Doom set and ate his banana butties one day. I don't think he met Ford on that particular one, but a couple of years later, he snuck onto the set of Last Crusade, and he walked onto what was the Grail, temple set, and he said he walked onto the set and he was stood there in the costume, and I got to meet him.
Wow.
So from that day, him telling me that story in like probably 92, 91, I was like, the dream is to meet him in costume on set. Wow. It only took 40 years, but I managed it in the end.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
So yeah, it was amazing.
Man, I'm over the moon for you. This is like it's like one of those. You're making it into a movie. I'm going to say it could be like a movie, but you are making it into a movie, right?
Well, yeah, we are making it into a movie. And what's so kind of weird about that? Hello, Writing Raven.
Is that a new name for us? Hello.
That is a new name for us. Welcome. Is that an Indiana Jones reference? Writing Raven, the Raven Bar. Is that an Indiana Jones reference? So, what was I talking about?
The documentary.
Oh yeah. So I came up with the idea for Finding Ford in, Andy will probably remember, I think it was 16 or 17.
Yeah, no, I was still in New Zealand when I heard about it. Yeah.
It was 2016.
2016. Okay. See, Andy remembers dates better than I do. All right. Okay. Cool. It's still a cool name. I like it. So at that time, there was a lot of people not a lot of people, but there was kind of fan films coming out, like people doing sort of personal journey stories type thing.
Yeah.
I remember there was a guy who did that Star Wars one about him and his son kind of being fans of Star Wars and that kind of thing. And I was seeing a lot of that around at the time, and I thought, if I was going to do one, then it probably wouldn't be a Star Wars one, just because there's kind of a lot of it out there.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if I was going to make a film of that, a fandom type film, then the obvious choice would be Harrison Ford, because he's the person that I've followed or been a fan of since Star Wars, when I first saw Star Wars. So I came up with that idea, came up with a title. Well, I bandied a few titles about. Regarding Harrison was one of them.
Oh yes, regarding Henry.
Regarding Henry, yeah. I've got a big soft spot for Regarding Henry. I like that film.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I like that movie. I've got it on DVD.
J.J. Abrams too. He wrote that. I think it was his first.
Did he write it?
That was it. Yeah, it was his first project. That was the first. First thing he got off the ground, and he's got a little cameo. He's like the delivery boy who comes to the door when he first leaves the apartment, and they lose him. So I came up with the title, and then the idea was I was gonna the idea is to shoot and interview as many people who have worked with him as possible, actors, producers, directors, and not just kind of year superstars, but like could be supporting artists, could be anybody who's got an interesting story that you've not heard before.
Yeah.
Because my thing was like, you know, yes, on DVDs you can watch making of documentaries about that particular film, but I don't think anybody's kind of really tied all those films and just something about him all together in one documentary. But as I kind of got into the idea, it was like, you know, it was like, it's not just about that as well. You know, it's clearly about me as well. You know, it's my journey as much as it is about him.
Yeah.
So we did a few interviews, and this is kind of 2017, I think 18. We did, I interviewed the late great Shane Rimmer, which I hope I've still got the footage. I have had a hard drive meltdown since there. I've still got to try and dig it out, but I did have an interview with Shane, and I had an interview with Paul Freeman, aka Belloc.
Yeah.
And he was great. The plus side is, I mean, I may redo the Paul Freeman just because it was in a con situation. So I want them all to be kind of
crisp,
in controlled circumstances where it just looks better and you can light it properly and that kind of thing. You know, it's not going to be a YouTube thing. This, you know, we want this to be a proper film. So, so I shot those stuff, and then there was just kind of a gap. You know, life got in the way. You know, Luna was starting to toddle around and all that kind of stuff. Dad life got in the way, and so I put it down for a bit, and then I picked it back up in 2019 because it was Blade Runner anniversary, wasn't it? 2019, the actual year of Blade Runner. So went over to Liverpool and shot a little thing at a Blade Runner screening, which Ivor Powell, the associate producer of Blade Runner, was there. Didn't interview him, but he gave me his contact details and said I could interview him anytime. So I've still got that to follow up with. But I did do a short interview, stood outside in the rain next to a neon lamp, very Blade Runner, with a guy called Paul Salmon, who's kind of, he's a big sci-fi expert guy, but he wrote basically the Blade Runner Bible. It's like a book like this,
right, on
the making of Blade Runner. Really interesting guy, and he had a couple of cool things to say about Harrison Ford. See you later. Writing Raven, she's off.
Okay.
Cool. So, and then obviously COVID. So I'd always intended to pick it back up, but when all the kind of hoo-ha kind of started happening about Indiana Jones, I thought, well, we've got to at least go to the set. And literally in my head, I'm thinking 80-20 chances there. If he's not there, we'll still get some cool stuff. Because, you know, part of the journey is not finding him, you know. We almost find him, you know, it's a near miss type thing. And then, bugger me, we found him. Yeah. So a lot of people are kind of, because I have to tell you, over the past 2 days, my you know, my inbox has just lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
I've not even posted anything on Instagram or the Twitter for Finding Ford yet. I just haven't had time, but off the back of the Facebook post, every fellow Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford fan is just sliding into my DMs asking advice on how they can meet him and all this kind of stuff.
Yes,
and, you know, do you know anything? Do you know anything? And all that.
You got any inside story? You know, inside information.
And I'm hey, it's cool. I'm exactly the same. So it's I love, you know, the fan community for that. Everyone's always really polite about these things. But yeah, so people are kind of saying and have said in the comments, you know, you found him now. That's the end of the film. It might be the end of the film, but it's definitely not the end of the project. If you know what I mean.
Right. Okay.
For me, this is just like the beginning. Really, this just puts the foot on the gas to get more content, get more interviews.
This is just the first layer of the cake.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's definitely more to come.
So the toppermost of the toppermost.
The toppermost of the pappermost, Johnny.
Yeah, the poppermost. That's it. You know, my word, you could keep going. Just keep going with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I'm charged up now. I'm hoping next month, if LFCC goes ahead, maybe I can chat to Karen Ellen, Marion, because she's going to be there.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's a few other people kind of around the London thing. I'm hoping if if it all works out, I can tie a few together.
When's that due to go ahead?
End of next month.
Is it? Right. Okay.
And I don't know for sure, but personally, I don't think it's a mistake that she's in London in July.
It's a bit of a coincidence. It's...
So, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate too much. I mean, if you want to talk about the new film a little bit,
well, we have been already. Just rumors, like not rumors per se, but just speculation, because people have seen the photographs are all over the internet of the Nazi train, the castle. One eagle-eyed fan was sort of, I think this is probably grasping at straws a wee bit, but they think there's time travel involved because they saw a statue that looks a bit like the statue of Kronos.
Oh, okay.
The Greek god Kronos, who is the personification of time itself. So
that's interesting.
Could time travel be?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I put it to Andy. What if the older Indiana Jones travels back in time to help out his younger self?
That would be cool. Indiana Jones meets Back to the Future. A lot of people have kind of predicted that. Now, what I'm got in my head, potential spoiler alerts. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there were photos leaked in the paper of a guy, a stuntman, in a Nazi outfit with a Harrison Ford prosthetic mask on.
Right.
Like, obviously, he was escaping from a Nazi camp or something like that.
Is that on the motorcycle?
On the motorcycle.
Yeah.
So for me, the 40s stuff is could be doubles and or Ford de-aged.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But for me, I feel like that'll be what it is. And then it will jump to, a later time period. The last one was set in the 50s. This could be early 60s or
all this stuff that's being shot in this country could be the prelude to the actual movie. It could be like a flashback. This is what happened in the 1940s, and then the movie begins in the 60s.
Yeah, they pull the younger Indy's hat down, and then he puts his head up, and he's Harrison Ford at
as we know him now.
Yeah. So I mean, that'd work for me. It sounds cool. But, in terms of MacGuffin and stuff, I have no idea. I mean, I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. It's and I'd rather.
It's all speculation. We don't want to know, really, do we?
No, I don't.
It's fun to speculate, but we all want to be surprised pleasantly.
What I will say though is that I'm excited, obviously, after meeting him, and from what I've seen, the set and gotta be honest, the vibe, like, you hear things from people who work in film. Some people have an absolute ball, some people don't have an absolute ball, and say, that people aren't very nice and blah blah blah, whatever. But like we ran into quite a few crew, and they all were just seemed happy and excited. They were all with any of them that we walked past and stuff. They were just like smiling. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Friendly.
I think we can be excited for this movie. For the fact that it's been planned. Do you know what I'm saying? It's been planned in advance. They're not going to make anything up as they go along. You've got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah,
and they're going for it. So you're allowed to be excited. I know the sequel trilogy from Lucasfilm, the Star Wars sequel trilogy, was disappointing because at the end of the day, we now know there wasn't much planning involved, and that kind of shows.
Mm-hmm.
With this Indiana Jones movie, it's got a great director. I mean, Logan's a brilliant movie, so
yeah, it's got great potential.
It's got a lot of potential. Yeah,
and I said this to Andy the other night. I could, again, total speculation. I don't know if this is true or not, but for me, I can't remember it was, but Spielberg came out. Maybe it was after Crystal Skull. He came out and said that he couldn't, after Schindler's List, he couldn't possibly go back and do kind of cartoon Nazis again.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of the script ideas that has been mooted previously had the idea of the Nazis returning. So I think there's strong potential that once that idea was introduced, Spielberg said, "Well, I'm out. I can't do it anymore." I think that's why he's gone.
Right.
Don't know, but I think.
I mean, that's believable.
But
really is. Yeah.
for me personally, bringing them back is a smart move because it feels Indiana Jones again. It puts you in the OT. It's kind of almost like the Force Awakens trick if you think about it. It's like, make it seem familiar and tangible, and so yes, they're using it as a flashback. Well, I assume they are, unless it's time travel, whatever. I don't know, but all of those things make me pretty excited about it.
I think probably I'd go with flashback.
I
think time travel is a bit of a stretch, but supernatural things do happen in Indiana Jones movies, so you never know.
It'd be really interesting to see what the MacGuffin is, what the mystery object is, if there is a mystery object, and how it ties into the rest of the story, what it is. Yeah,
wasn't there speculation that it had something to do with the 1969 moon launch recently?
Yeah, I think people have been out there saying that. Again, that'd be interesting. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks for sticking the website up. But just to let people know, if you are going and having a look on the site, you may notice the blog isn't very up to date, but I'm endeavouring to make some updates to the site over the next couple of weeks because it has been a while. Unfortunately, I get sidetracked by having to update websites for other people, not just for me.
That's bread and butter. That's your bread and butter.
That's your bread and butter. One of the bread and butters. So, cool, guys. Well, was there anything else? I wasn't going to stick around for too long. I just thought I'm gonna. You're talking about Indiana Jones. I'm gonna have to duck my head in here.
Yeah. Well, we were gonna actually go on and talk about the 4K Blu-ray release of the Indiana Jones movies and the music of Indiana Jones, but this could be end of part one. If you guys would like to cut this short, and we could come back next week, or Andy, obviously, Paddy, you're busy with your music, etc. But Andy, if you're up for it, in Indiana Jones part 2.
Sure.
Either next week or the week after, and
cool.
And we can talk about more Star Wars stuff. Obviously, it's Club Star Wars, so we want to talk about Star Wars. But let's talk about Indiana Jones too, because at the end of the day, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to be an Indiana Jones fan of this as well.
It's usually the case, isn't it?
It's usually the case, yeah.
Would you like to see the artifact?
Absolutely.
Is this the signature?
Oh, check it out, guys. Check it out.
I'm doing the Ark theme.
Look at that.
Hello.
Look at that.
It doesn't even look like a
Holy Grail.
It doesn't even look like a street ford. It looks like a sit down. It's a bloody cherry signature he gave me there.
Yeah.
And on the shot that I always want from probably 1989, I've always wanted him to sign that shot.
Yeah.
So it's just such a great picture.
Cheers, Daniel, for joining us, by the way.
Cheers, Daniel. He's looking into the camera, and so is the horse. I just think it's such a brilliant, such a brilliant shot. That
mate, that is superb.
So there you go.
You know, it didn't look like there was many people there.
I was the only person who got a signature.
You really?
There was nobody. There was me and Steve, my cameraman / director. Steve Pilling. Hi, Steve. And there was we met this really nice Polish guy and his mate, and the Polish guy was he was kind of cheers, Brian. He was saying I don't know if he was on holiday and something. It kind of happened by accident, but he'd seen the set of Mission Impossible up there in the same area, and he'd met Tom Cruise, and he said it gave him the bug to kind of do that. So we'd met him as we were looking down on the train set,
right?
And he was there with this big, massive, like a proper wildlife telephoto lens camera, big, huge camera, and so we chatted him for a while, and he was behind me when I got the signature. And he was just basically trying to get pictures. He didn't go and speak to him or anything. So in terms of like a fan, you know, I don't think he was necessarily an Indiana Jones or Harrison Ford fan. I think there was literally just me as a Ford fan.
As a Ford fan, yeah.
And then the rest was just like, you know, a handful of people, either tourists or just from the area, just milling about.
Just curious.
And crew. So in terms of like, you know, fan encounters, it was perfect. Yeah, when would you ever be the only fan in front of Harrison Ford and Andy's dressed as Indiana Jones? It was just ridiculous.
It's I can't believe it, and I'm not you. You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. Gina's mate was saying this last night. She said she believes in karma and stuff, and you know, and she was like, you know, you've put up with a lot of shit, and you've had a lot of shit luck.
Yeah.
But every now and again, you know, karma smiles down on you, and you know, I've wanted you all know how long I've wanted to meet that guy.
Yeah.
But
it's
all of
been
a sudden,
a lifelong dream.
A lifelong dream, and to meet him on your own in costume, just ridiculous.
I remember at college talking to you about Indiana Jones, man. You know, it's
yeah.
I was in the middle of some pretty intense work, and then heard the news and ended up having a bit of a cry. Had to stop working.
Yeah,
had a bit of a moment, and I'm not going to say anymore because I'm going to set off doing it now.
yeah. I think I messaged you that meme, that GIF, from Jurassic Park. You know, the Ian Malcolm going,
yeah.
Crazy son of a bitch did
it. You know, that was the lovely thing. I mean, I was, you know, shaking like a shitting dog after I'd met him. You know, I had to go and sit down, and I felt, but he was still milling around for a bit, so I kind of just stood around and just.
I bet it felt so surreal.
It was weird. He was milling about. He walked up and spoke to the pub landlord and shit like that. He's just milling around talking to people, and then he just strolled off down the road.
In his Indy gear.
In his Indy gear. In the middle of Whitby, yeah.
In the middle of Whitby, yeah.
So,
wow. Did he have his whip?
No,
right. No. Okay. I suppose if he's just preparing for the shot, he won't have all the props.
He was just wearing the hat, the shirt, the jacket, and the pants and the boots. Yeah. He didn't have his extra belt, the gun belt, or anything like that.
Right. Those are added extras for the camera, right? So, yeah.
Well, no, I'm not going to say.
No.
I was potentially going to give you a scoop there, but I'm not going to say anything because it could be privileged information. But needless to say, he was great. He did actually. He cracked a little gag as well after he signed. But again, you'll have to wait and see. Yeah,
stay tuned, folks. And Finding Ford is the place to go to for all this.
The place to go to.
All this information from Paddy.
That's what I was going to say. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go to Finding Ford, everyone. That's Paddy's baby. That's the documentary that will be made. Finding Ford, one man's lifelong journey to meet his hero, and
that's it. We're steaming full steam ahead now. What I would like to do is give a little.
And who did the music? Who did the music for Final Four? By the way?
Oh, Andy's written some amazing music for that film. He really has. I actually sent the music to Steve last night because I think he's kind of cutting together a little bit of the whole day. So I've given him the music to include somewhere. I don't know what I don't know what's going to come back, but I'm pretty excited to see it when it does come back. That's like the first cut.
I feel like I need to get you
anything to do with the film.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna have to send you a congratulations card or something through the post. You know, it's just
we'll have a congratulations beer. But I just want to mention. I do just want to mention this. And you probably saw the picture online. You'll notice that all I shared was a picture of the autograph and the picture of me and Steve afterwards. Mm-hmm. I got a couple of pictures of him in costume. And obviously we got the footage of me meeting him. And then we met this guy earlier on in the day, and we met him later on. We had a pizza with him and stuff. And this guy, he's probably in his 60s, I think. And he was doing a walk from coast to coast for a charity.
Okay.
For Papyrus, for a suicide charity.
Right.
So he was talking to us about that, and me and Steve kind of said, well, we're not sure if it was suicide or if it was an accident, but we lost our friend a couple of years ago, so obviously we really empathize with that and get behind your quest. Really lovely guy, and he took while all the milling about was going on, and after I'd signed and stuff, he took loads and loads of pictures.
Yeah,
and he sent them all to me.
Wow.
Now, when I posted the autograph in the Indiana Jones autograph group that I'm part of, which is a brilliant group, but I was a little bit disappointed because I shared the autograph image, and then so many people in the group were asking me about what happened and what he looked like. I said, I've got this one picture of him side on, and I'm kind of stood behind him after he signed. So it's kind of, we're both in shot, but it's not a pose shot. He was in costume, so he wouldn't pose with anybody, which was fair enough.
No, that's fair enough.
He was very polite about it, but he just said no, so that's fair enough. But so I just posted in the comments in this group. I was like, look, don't share it outside the group, but this is just for you to see, because I know you're all, obviously Indiana Jones fans or whatever. Within an hour, it was on makingstarwars.net.
Are you joking?
And they put it on. They
is this the one that's floating around online
with me in
now?
the background? Yeah. And they water stamped it, makingstarwars.net, as if it was their own.
Jesus, the scumbags,
all that kind of stuff. So I'm just here to say, I didn't share it online. I didn't want to share it anywhere. I was just kind of showing it to some fans, but it got out of hand after that. So I didn't want to put anything out there. And I've got loads of pictures of me in costume, and I've not put any out. Yeah, I'm not putting my footage out until after the film's out.
Yeah.
So, but what I would do want to say is that a guy called Philip Jowett took the picture, and he is doing something called Walking with Ben. Coast to coast. He finished the walk the next day afterwards.
Yeah.
The day afterwards. Now, if we go to...
Can we share something with that?
I'm going to share this now. If you did enjoy the picture, he likes looking at that little scoop there. You can... I don't know whether to put it in comments or... I'll put it as a ticker. I'll put it as a ticker, shall I?
Yeah, do it.
1 minute. So...
I'd like to second Brian's comment.
Me too.
Yeah. It was really disappointing. I did contact the website in the first instance, but I was waiting to get this.
I've got to be honest, as soon as you said you put it in that group, I was like, right, it's everywhere. You can't trust anyone.
It was a mistake, but I thought
sometimes you like to believe in humanity and think, I'm going to do this for you guys.
I thought I was doing a nice thing, but
bit of respect, but yeah. There's always one tosser, isn't there?
Yeah, I was annoyed. So if you go to www.justgiving.com/fundraising/Phil-Jowett, you can donate to Phil's Just Giving for his work they did for suicide prevention. He's done well, actually. He's done really well. He's up to 3,516. But let's see if we can.
Let's see if we can boost that. Yeah.
Let's see if we can boost it a bit more because he was like, I'm not on social media, whatever. I think he was saying that his family would be sharing stuff for him or something like that.
Right.
So I mean, there's a chance that those pictures got put out there, but he just sent them to me and said, do whatever you want with them. If you want to share them, you can do. I just said to him, I'm not going to do, because out of respect for the production and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, thank you, Phil Jowett, and yes, if anybody's out there can lend a couple of pounds or whatever to his cause, then please do.
Yeah, top man. So yeah, I think I'll leave it at that, and look out for more. Will do.
Exciting stuff, Paddy.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, congratulations. And Friday, if you're up for it, pints at the local.
That sounds good. That should be okay. That.
Yeah. The old man will be there. He's an Indiana Jones fan and would love to hear the stories.
I'll tell him the story. I'll tell him the full story.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Well, thanks for joining the stream again, Paddy, and brilliant. I can't get over it.
I can't. It was crazy.
If I can't get over it, you can't get over it.
I'm still smiling. I still look like I've slept with a hanger in my mouth most of the week. So it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right. Nice one. I'll see you later, guys.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Wow. What a story.
Yep. It's pretty special.
Yeah. What a story, man. And again, it's disappointing that, he shares that picture with fans, trusting that they're going to just enjoy the picture for what it is.
Yeah.
And then making Star Wars takes it as their own. Oh, my word. But, I'm not surprised. Because we all know who runs us making Star Wars. And
do we? I don't.
Yeah.
Are you meant to know? Are we meant to know?
Oh no, it's pretty common knowledge. It's pretty.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we are meant to know. It's God, the names are not there at the top of the head at the moment, but
Doomcock.
No, it's not Doomcock.
Mike Zero.
It is. Should I name the guy? Jason Ward.
Oh yeah, I've heard that name before.
Yeah, Jason Ward.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it hasn't making Star Wars been right about things in the past.
There you go. Typical Jason Ward. It is typical Jason Ward. You're right. Yeah.
Paddy got in touch with me in I think it's 2016. He was telling me about the documentary, and he said, I want someone to write music for it. And he said, but he's thinking it's got to stand up to the scores of the films that Harrison's been in, like Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Air Force One, which was not John Williams, that was Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh God, I've got that try and channel John Williams. And I came up with, I don't think Paddy shared it anywhere. I don't think he wants to, but I came up with a few things. Like I've tried to channel the music that John did for the Nazis in Last Crusade. And I've come up with a theme as well for the whole thing that Paddy was pretty happy with. I'm quite happy with it as well.
Yes, it's a good theme. He did play it a few weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, he played it off air, was it?
Off air. It was off air.
Live, yeah.
No.
But yeah, we're hoping. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him about it just then, but me and Paddy are both hoping that will lead to an interview with John Williams. I don't know if it'll happen, but the documentaries could be a gateway for me to meet my hero. What Paddy's experienced there. I'd be the same with John Williams.
Yeah, Hey, you know,
I'd pass out.
follow your dream. You know, it's
who's yours?
Mark Hamill.
Mark, yeah.
Mark Hamill. Yeah.
That could easily happen.
Well, I don't know, but yeah.
That could I think he'd be easier to get hold of than Harrison or John Williams.
Possibly, but I think I'd have to get on a plane and travel overseas for it nowadays.
Oh, for sure, yeah, you would.
Yeah, there's no chance of him probably coming over to this country.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, is he doing conventions anymore? I mean, not that there's any conventions about, but yeah. But yeah, I think So Paddy's finding Ford, you're finding Williams, finding Hamill. It could be a trilogy.
Yeah. I mean, Paddy would want, the documentary could be a gateway to that for you as well, because Paddy obviously would want Mark Hamill. So that you never know, it could happen.
Yeah.
But like Paddy said, he's not just.
You got a dream.
Running. Yeah, absolutely. Paddy's not just going to run around and look for the really big names. He wants a more varied approach to it. He wants
the nuance.
Because those big people have probably told the stories.
Yeah.
Obviously, Carrie, that's never going to happen now, which is very sad.
True.
But yeah, Carrie spent a lot of time with him, obviously, on the Star Wars trilogy. And The Force Awakens.
True.
Did quite a few scenes together.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to leave it there, aren't we, for part 1 for Indiana Jones.
We'll leave it here. We'll park it up and call this end of part 1 Club Star Wars Indiana Jones special, if you like.
Yeah.
But we'll come back next week or week after, maybe. We'll see how we're fixed, and we'll continue this with the story of Indiana Jones and the Blu-rays, the music, the score, special effects, and maybe talk about some of the
just before we
other actors that were with him. Go on.
Yeah. Daniel, Paddy came in and answered the question about Spielberg.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Thanks,
he did.
Daniel.
I didn't actually have to bring it up with Paddy. He just answered it. So Daniel's question was about Stephen's involvement, and I don't know whether Paddy wanted me to say what he'd said on air, but he said it himself anyway. So hope that answered your question. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah.
But cheers for joining us, guys. It's been a few new names tonight.
Yeah, definitely. It's been a pretty good stream. And
Brian didn't turn up till Paddy turned up. I'm offended.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I think it's nice to vary away from a bit of Star Wars into something else.
Absolutely. Well, we keep talking about we've been talking about not just today, but since you did it on YouTube. There's been Potter, Lord of the Rings.
Well, this is true. We do go off at a tangent many times, but
there's quite a lot of pop culture in movies in there, isn't there?
There is. I mean, that's kind of why I called my Twitter account Club Star Wars Plus, because
is that what that means?
Yeah. Because it's not just Star Wars; it's plus Indiana Jones and everything else in between. So
that's the thing. We're fans of lots of other things, but I think Star Wars is probably. It's definitely not the top for me. I think it is for you, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. So check out Finding Ford, everybody. And if you have a bit of spare cash and you'd like to give to the charity who supplied a lot of photographs to Paddy, which we will see in the future on Finding Ford, go to www.justgiving.com/fundraising/Phil Jowett or Phil-Jowett. So that would be cool. Other than that, we will see you next time for some more Indiana Jones chat. Until then, catch you next time.
See you later, guys.